Hey everyone, this is Viren and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about LinkedIn ads, in specific messaging ads. And we're going to talk about what they are, how to use them, how they're different from in-mails. We'll also talk about what are the best practices when using this type of ad. Let me quickly show you what messaging ads are, right? So I'm going to go into the messaging tab on my profile and you can see the sponsored message here. This is largely what a messaging ad looks like. So there is a person, profile name, there is a subject line, there is a CTA to get started, there is this entire message. Your message can also have some links. And largely, you have this call to action. When clicked on, this opens a lead generation form. And here you can collect things like email address, phone number, and a lot of other profile details, right? So this is what the ad is going to look like. One thing to know that this is different from InMail, right? And let's look at one of the InMail examples here. And the thing about InMail is that this is more directed to just one person. It's not an ad. It is just one-on-one messages that you can send to people across LinkedIn. But when it comes to these sponsored messages, this is sent at scale to others on LinkedIn. And that makes it more like an ad rather than a one-on-one interaction. The great thing is that this could feel like a one-on-one interaction, but this is not. This is actually an ad. And this type of an ad is great for startups or companies that don't have a website set up. You really have to not invest in technology here and you can simply get started because there is no landing page, right? Users will click on your ad, fill a lead, and that lead reaches you. And that's about it. So you also don't have to worry about your landing page optimization. So typically the problem with normal ads is such that when a user clicks on the ad, a certain percentage of them will wait for your website to load. Now, once they're on the website, a certain percentage would click on your call to action. And then an even smaller percentage of users would end up filling your form. So you cut all of that out and you directly get the user to see the message on their LinkedIn messages tab, and then they can click on the form, submit the form. A lot of the data in the form is also pre-filled from attributes on the user's profile, and we'll check that out in a minute. Another great thing about messaging ads is that graphics is not important. It'll be great if you could have one, but for example, if you're in a team where you do not have a graphic designer, there's no need to worry. You can just go ahead and create it. Like this particular ad has no images whatsoever in them. This type of ad is typically great for bottom of funnel. So if you're trying to generate leads and right at the bottom of the funnel, you're not worrying about creating awareness and doing branding campaigns, then this kind of an ad works great for you. And now let me quickly show you how to create a messaging ad. And before I do that, I would request you guys to please subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more such videos that will help you grow your business. And if you're not willing to do that, at the very least, you can please like and comment this video because that really helps creators like me to reach more people. Having said that, let's get into this video and show you how to create an ad like this for yourself. So you would start by going into the advertising tab and click whichever account you use. If you don't have an account, you can go ahead and create one. It's a small form. And once you're in here, just click on create campaign, give your campaign a name. I'm going to select messaging campaign. Objective is going to be lead generation since we're trying to target bottom of funnel. We're not using budget optimization because we're just going to create one campaign, but typically budget optimization is going to help you spread your budget across an entire group of campaigns and allocate automatically more to the best performing campaigns that you have. For now, we're going to leave that and run this ad continuously starting today. Let me click on next. So we've gone ahead and set up our campaign objective. And now we'll go ahead and set up the campaign. All of these things is what we have to fill out. The campaign name is lead generation. I'll leave it at that. We can look at the target audience. So you can change this. LinkedIn has pre-selected India for me since that was the last ad that I ran, but I could change this to, let's say, United Kingdom, United States. You can specifically choose the language that you want to target. And from here on, you could start narrowing your audience further or excluding people from this list. So let me start by narrowing and I'm going to select some audience attributes. So for example, let's say I am only going to focus on people whose job title is founder, co-founder, chief executive officer. So let's leave it at that. Founders and CEOs are largely my target audience, and I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to uncheck enable audience expansion because I want complete control over who I'm targeting. And you can go ahead and further narrow down your audience based on other attributes, right? Like companies, demography, education level, interest rates, things like that. And while you do all of this, you will see some forecasts here in terms of your 30-day spend, impressions, CTR, all of that you can expect from your campaign. You can see this at a weekly or a daily level as well. And now when we move on to ad format, what we want to select is message. Conversation is like a better version of message, which we'll cover in another video. But for now, let's select messages and move on. We're not using our URL tracking parameters here at the moment. This is typically used when you're going to use a URL to redirect people to your website. But here we're looking to get users to fill a lead generation form. The placement is going to be LinkedIn. We cannot use the audience network because the placement is again going to be messages. So this is something that we cannot use. We can set a daily budget. So let me put a daily budget as like $50 and run this campaign continuously. I'm bidding for maximum delivery. You could also go ahead and choose manual bidding and then select something here. So let's say something like 30 cents. Okay, so LinkedIn needs me to bid at least 35 cents. I like to use manual bidding so that I can have complete control over how much I'm spending, right? But it's great to experiment with maximum delivery as well. Once you're done with all of this, we move next. And now we're going to go ahead and start creating the ad. So let's click on create new ad. Give this ad a name. And you get to select a sender. So the default is obviously yourself, but you could theoretically add anyone here and get them to approve the request and then use them to send ads. So a lot of times what companies or people would do is you could get an influencer, pay them to send the message with their name or their account. And that way you get better open rates. So if there is an industry figure who is very famous in your particular industry, you could also get them to do that. So this becomes like the LinkedIn influencer marketing. But for now, I'm just going to leave this at myself. And then there comes your message, the subject line and the text message. So let me go ahead and fill that out. A great thing is that you can use these fields in your message to kind of personalize your message for the people they're going to get delivered to. So here, let me just click at first name. I'm going to go ahead and insert company name as well. So I'm done writing the message. We can add a call to action. Uploading a banner is purely optional in this particular ad, and we can choose not to have one. And finally, there is the lead generation form. We're going to go ahead and create one. Add a form name. Give it a headline. And some description, which is optional. You can add a privacy policy URL. We'll now go ahead and add the questions that we're going to ask the user. And typically, you should not have this as a very long list because the longer the list is, it's going to take more time for people to fill. A lot of these fields are already available on LinkedIn. So it's very, very easy to get this pre-filled when the user clicks on the form. But if you add custom questions and checkboxes, it might get difficult. So I'm going to have a small, simple form, something like this. We'll collect the email and the phone number, while the rest of the details will actually directly come from their LinkedIn profile. You could also go ahead and remove title, company name, industry, things like that, because you can get all of those details off of the person's LinkedIn profile. But I'm just going to continue with this. We can add a confirmation message. And you can also choose to add a landing page URL here where users would go after they've completely filled the form. So I'm just going to add something temporary. This website doesn't exist, but just adding it for now. And finally, there is something called hidden fields in lead generation forms. Now, without going into too much detail, since that is not the purpose of this video, if you have leads coming in from a lot of different sources, you might want to have something like source LinkedIn. And this comes to you in your lead generation output every time a lead comes from LinkedIn, right? But at the moment, this is not necessary for us. The form has been created, so I'm going to go ahead and click on create. And our ad campaign is ready. So I could click on this 3 button here and send myself a test message. So if we go back to my LinkedIn account, so as you can see, I have a message now here from myself. This is how it would look like when it goes to another user. When I click on this, I'm going to see this entire message that we had filled out. So clicking on the book free call is going to open up the form. These data points were actually pre-filled. I removed it for privacy. But yeah, I mean, users could fill this, submit, and we would get their leads. So back to the campaign, and we click on next here. And now we're at the final step where we just need to review everything that we did and go ahead and start the ad campaign. If you have not added any credit card details to this particular ad account yet, that is what you will be asked to do. I'm going to go ahead and add it and skip to the next part of the form when I click on agree and launch campaign. And now we've landed back to the campaign and we can see this campaign is created. It's now active. There are a lot of these metrics that we can now see and judge the performance of this particular campaign. You could go here and change this particular columns to sponsored messaging. And now you will see data points that are more pertaining to the campaign we've just created. We would be able to see the number of leads and click here to then see all the leads, your total spend, cost per result, the number of messages that have been sent, the number that have been opened, how many sponsored messages have been clicked on. Then post that we have our buttons and the number of buttons that were clicked, which is the call to action in the message. If you uploaded an image, the banner clicks would be counted as well. We would see open rate, click to open rate, cost per send, cost per open, number of clicks on the headline, a lot of these data points, which are pretty self-explanatory. And you'd be able to see all of this to see how your campaign is working. A great idea would be to add more ads under this campaign, test out a lot of different subject lines, a lot of different messaging options, and see what works best for the audience that you're trying to target. Now, before we end the video, I thought I'll go back to the message and give you some guidelines on how you can use the messaging campaign at its best and what are the pro tips here that you should always incorporate. First thing first is obviously always use a personal sender. Do not try to mimic a company here. You would want this entire sponsored ad to look as much as possible as a real person. And the person receiving it should feel like they've received a message from a real person. And it's no different from all the other messages that they receive on LinkedIn. You want the message to be extremely personalized. Use all of these custom fields as much as you can to personalize the message for the person you're sending this to, which also means that the general tone of the message that you send is also going to be very conversational, something that you would actually message people on LinkedIn and not like an advertisement. The next tip is that in general, people have found that when you give away something for free, you tend to get better conversions on these kind of ads. So it is a great idea to actually give away something for free, like free trials, discount subscriptions. In my case, like I did a free consultation so that you can get the person on the other side of the table more excited about your message. You would also want to highlight the benefits of your offering so that if they get on a 30-minute call for me, what is it that they would get out of that call? I could also add in some proof, social proof, some of the work that I've done, which I have not gone into all of that in this particular message, but you could add social proof. You could add, uh, I could add some of the work that I've done for other companies and show what is the kind of output that I've gotten for them. But at the end of it, the message needs to be short. We should not overshoot more than about 500 characters so that it's easy to read. And the final tip is that adding links sometimes to the middle of these messages increases the number of clicks you're going to get, because a user who's actually reading might go ahead and click on the link rather than clicking on the call to action on top of or below, which seems more conventionally ad like. And that's about it for this particular video. We have covered what messaging ads are, how to go ahead and create them, and what are some of the best practices that you can use. If this video was helpful to you, please go ahead and hit the like button, comment, and please let me know. You could also suggest the kind of videos you want to see so that I can go ahead and create them for you. And go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more such videos. I'll see you in the next one.